Welcome to episode 244 of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hi. I feel like I have
That'll never get old. Yeah, me too. I feel because we were out late.
We were out late when we were singing. Well, I was singing. This is now multiple times.
I know.
My last song was so horrible. My throat was dry.
No, it was so good. It was so good.
The first song was good.
No, both. First of all, the first song.
The first song was so much
Tina
fun.
knows how to do. Tina knows how to do karaoke. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. These people get up and they're like, wise men say. Tina's like, talk to me. She's singing, is it Poison?
Poison.
No.
Poison. No, Poison.
Poison, yeah.
Poison. I had to bring it back.
It was set very hot.
It was fun.
It was very hot.
It was fun. It was fun.
And in that bar, you gotta be careful what you're singing.
Well,
we had to escort her out before the MAGA folks jump all over you.
We had to read the room. So, you can't...
Girl.
You gotta be careful what song you pick.
Yeah.
And Poison is gonna fit well with that crowd.
Yeah. And you were energetic. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a great performance.
Oh, well, thank you.
Bravo, darling.
Oh, thank you.
I was doing one of these claps. Bravo, darling. Bravo.
It was a packed house.
Yeah.
It was
and
very...
more and more people kept coming in and I was like, oh God.
It was very weird because it was like, first it was very country.
Yeah.
Really, there needs to be... Well, Alfredo was saying a documentary. I think it would make a great, Netflix.
Yeah.
What do they call those? 8-episode one thing. Where it's not
a mini-series.
Like a mini-series, but they don't call it that anymore. It's called something else. Okay, in our day,
this
it was
bar
a
is
series.
the center of this weird kind of all these different people mix and mingle.
All converge.
Yeah, it's like a black hole.
It's like the convergence.
What are they all doing here together? They shouldn't all be in the same room and getting along.
Yeah,
what's happening?
It's the craziest thing. And the characters.
Yeah.
There are just such interesting characters. I mean, there's the guy who brought his own mic.
Black.
Oh gosh, Black Hawk?
No, bitch. Oh.
Black Storm.
No.
Black Wolf.
Black Wolf.
Black Wolf.
That's the name of this fucking episode because that motherfucker was on point last night.
Black Wolf.
He was
came prepared.
He had a black cowboy hat on, a black shirt with a black long vest.
Yeah, the rings. He's got all his
Every
rings.
one of his fingers had giant rings on it. And I was like, that's from all the people he's murdered. He's taking their rings. His old lady.
His own personal microphone.
Yeah.
But he did a song that surprised me.
He held his microphone like this.
Oh.
So his pinky was on one side and it was so... You didn't see the pinky thing?
I didn't notice that.
And then, in front of us, which I can only describe, sitting at the table in front of us, I told Alfredo, I said it's like a meatball with a gray wig on. It's all the way I could describe it. It looked like a little tiny meatball walking around with a giant gray wig.
She was into it.
That
was
bitch
that
got
a wig?
up. And first of all I know is this.
A wig?
No.
Oh.
But a meatball would have to wear a wig, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Get into my fantasy, Tina.
Sorry.
But she had ordered ginger ale or something.
Yeah.
And then she was behind us, and Alfredo tapped me, and he's like, look, and I look over, I turn around, and I look. She starts doing one of these numbers to see who's looking. Pulls out of her purse a bottle with no label, and it's got a dropper. And the dropper was this long, and she just dropped whatever it was into her drink and was mixing it around. I was like, what? And the husband had a thermos.
Do you think it was a husband? Do you think they're husbands? Do you think they're lovers?
No, I think they're husband and wife for sure. They were too coordinated in their second number. They did a second number together.
Well, they could still be lovers and spend time together.
Maybe, but she was doing the most.
I'm telling you that if they're at the 55 and over community, she's the one getting down because she still has
busy.
Some moves.
Yeah, she was very busy. At one point she turned to us and she goes, "You don't understand. Once I get started, I can't stop." And I was like, "All right, bitch, take it easy."
Listen.
And then on the microphone she goes, "Make sure you take care of your bartenders and your waiters." And
Alfredo goes, she's sneaking booze?
Yeah, Alfredo goes, that's because she's not taking care of them. I'm not buying drinks, but you all should be taking care of them.
Just give some tips.
Here's what I know, which I sent myself a note in the middle of all of this, is I saw three other women with pink hair. I'm done with that. This will be washed out soon. Like, I can't. And they were not cool.
Oh.
Okay?
So, wait.
I don't know how else to describe it. They were, like, schlubby with pink hair. And I can't be a schlubby old white woman with pink hair. Am I lumped in with these women?
No.
Do you see what I'm saying? There were 4 women, including me, with pink hair in that place.
I saw one other lady with pink hair. I didn't see the other 2.
I don't want to start. I'm just saying, if you stand next to these women, there's no way I'm in this group. I just can't be in it.
You're not.
I'm
girl.
too fucking cool and very strongly trying to hang on to that youth.
When you say they're uncool,
bitch,
they were
Talbots.
No, Talbots with pink hair.
Now we talked about Talbots on our Patreon.
With pink hair.
We talked about Talbots on our Patreon last week.
Wow.
Tina had to describe to me what it was, and I was like, "Yeah, it's an old lady clothing store." That's what I would describe it. They go to Talbots.
Talbots with pink hair. This is crazy.
I can't. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how are they walking around with pink hair? This is not okay. This is not okay. Yeah. And then I realized this must be some sort of desperation in me. Is there a I just think I look good with pink hair.
Adorable.
I think it's my natural vibe. It's my pink hair.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, how can my vibe be the same as their vibe? Is what I'm saying.
It's not though.
Bitch.
It's not. I didn't even notice the other pink-haired people.
I was pointing them out. You weren't
there was
listening
one.
to me.
There was one I saw that was walking.
The one that was right. There was one right next to us. The girl that was right next to us with her boyfriend with no meth teeth. He had no teeth. And he was singing Kid Rock, by the way.
Oh my god!
And he knew every fucking word.
Every word.
And then we were trying to determine what he was going to sing next, and we were shocked that it was. I thought it was definitely going to be like "Sweet Home Alabama" or something.
Yeah.
But it was Billy Joel. We didn't start the fire, and he knew every word.
Every word.
He didn't even look at the monitor. He made sure everybody saw that he stood in front of the monitor.
Yes.
And he didn't fucking need it.
He didn't need the monitor for that. Now I have heard that, and I was singing along.
Yeah.
With the words that I know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of there's a lot of pauses because. That song, you don't know every word of that song.
Well, this guy did. He didn't know how to brush his teeth to keep them, but he knew every word. So
I think even if you brush your teeth with meth teeth.
It's meth teeth, right? There's something going on there.
Yeah.
No judgments. We're in the black hole of nothingness at the bowling alley bar, but something's going. That's what I'm saying. There's a whole mix of people going on here.
Our friend who was there with us said, "Look, meth does karaoke."
Oh my god. But anyway, his girlfriend or wife, she had pink hair.
I didn't even notice
it was pretty too, which really pissed me off. It was like this very light kind of grayish pink, and then it had these pink highlights in it.
I didn't notice that was pink.
Her hair looked very cool, but she was also wearing. Please, forgive me. I'm sorry, but she was wearing a t-shirt that was way too big for her.
Okay, baggy.
Yeah, and it had 3 sunflowers, like a print on the front of 3 sunflowers, and a kitty cat like this.
No!
And it said, "Hello, morning," or something like that. It's like, she got the basement bin at like the Walmart back shop somewhere. This is who had pink hair!
No, and she's
and then
not,
there was a woman
she's
that was
not
clearly
being ironic. That's the thing.
Girl, no.
No. Oh. No.
I'm very upset. It's over. It's over,
but
Johnny.
That's them trying to be cool.
Right. Well,
not
this
you trying to be cool. You know what I mean? Because you are cool.
Doesn't it seem like I'm trying to be cool?
No. No. It just feels like you. But that shirt is the giveaway.
That's what I mean. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. All right, maybe you're convincing me.
I'm
trying to once I have pink hair, I try to do a whole thing.
You have a whole look.
These women were not doing it. They were wearing their everyday clothes with pink hair.
Yeah.
It was very upsetting.
No everyday clothes with pink hair.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
No.
By the way, I don't know if I thought of you this week because I'll show you the picture. There's a Instagram account called Watching New York, and this guy looks at outfits. Oh. And he puts up, he's on the street, and he's got this this long lens. Oh, so he takes pictures of really cool people in their outfits.
Thank God it's cool.
Yeah.
Because there's someone out there about to do really ugly outfits and shaming people.
Oh, I mean, it's just the coolest shit. Anyway, there's a picture of these 2 punk rocker guys, these young guys wearing punk rock outfits, and I always zoom in to see. Look at that. There's a book in his boot. You see it?
Oh my
And I thought
God.
that would be Tina. She'd love a punk rock guy with a book in his boot to read for later.
I want to know what that book is.
I know.
What is he reading?
I know. Maybe I'll put a comment on there and ask Johnny, who I don't know.
Johnny,
what is he find reading? Out. Yeah, next time you see this guy, ask him.
What is he reading?
Yeah, because it's like you wear these clothes as an expression of who you are, and maybe someone would judge that guy based on his outfit.
I love it.
Maybe I'm judging the Talbots people. I don't know.
That's not a Talbots look, though. That's like you're right, and I don't want to say Walmart.
I should have asked a question. Like, I should have been like, what's up with your hair? That's what I should have said. What's up with your hair? I should be the only one with pink hair at the bowling alley. I'm sorry, nothing else makes sense to me.
That's true.
You're telling me it's that widely accepted that people have pink hair now? Because if that's the case, then it's not cool, and I got to stop doing it.
Oh, it's mainstream now.
Do you see what I'm saying? I got to stop. So.
What about changing the color up?
I thought about it, but pink is always the only one that ever looked good on me. You know?
What, purple?
I've tried purple.
Like a light purple?
We'll see. You know, it's a shampoo. I can change it.
Yeah.
But still, it really is upsetting. That was literally 11 minutes of me talking about how.
Listen.
Well, we also talked about karaoke.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Don't
go.
judge us.
Don't. How dare you judge me? Look, one of my notes is at bowling alley karaoke. 3 other women with pink hair. Let me just cross that off. That's been talked about.
I don't have a whole ton today. One thing though, we just had another hurricane hit our state. I mean, literally, it's just crazy how. We recorded last week in a couple of days and the destruction within a couple of days and how things can change for people and families and lives in just a couple of days.
Yep.
The one thing that has stood out to me though is that we have representatives in our state that voted against FEMA and providing more money for FEMA to help out with these disasters. So in one breath, they vote against it, and in the next breath, they want to condemn Biden and claim that he's given all the money to migrants somehow, and make light of the checks that they're going to give out to people and how it's not enough. But you voted against.
Yeah, you're the one who voted for that
to do more. So you can't now complain. It's crazy. And the people that are following them, when they talk about how they want to get rid of FEMA and they want to get rid of all of these sort of safety nets for people, but then when crisis strikes, they're the first ones with their hands out. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and they also...
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Again, Tina, this goes back to, I put a whole fucking ass post, a big ass post on my Facebook about this, because I was seeing a lot of people sharing wild shit that I was like, I love all y'all. What?
What are you doing?
You don't know? And it goes down to this, civics.
Yeah.
Understanding how the government works. Y'all weren't paying attention in school, so I had to give everybody a little bit of a civics lesson on my Facebook about how government fucking works. And it's very easy when you don't understand how things work to fall for conspiracies and bullshit. Yeah. That's what happens. And I had to take out the word dummies because I was like, I better edit this. But I'm sorry, Obama kind of, we'll get to it, but Obama kind of referenced this in his speech in Pittsburgh this week. But like, we got to stop being dummies. We got to stop this because it's literally life or death for people. Yeah. When you make up conspiracies or spread misinformation about FEMA and what they're coming to take your land. If FEMA comes to you and tries to offer you money, it's because they're going to take your land. You're going to sign something. They're going to take your land. And people are letting FEMA on their property in Western North Carolina, when these little tiny towns up in the mountains where they can't get out, and they're not letting FEMA in because they're believing shit that their cousin who probably lives in like Montana is putting, because it doesn't affect that guy. Right. It affects the guy over here who's now believing shit, and it's slowing down people getting aid and help.
And the thing is, it's one thing for the cousin in Montana. It's another for a Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Absolutely.
It's another for Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz who tweeted or X'd, or what do you call it now?
No, we say tweeted. We don't think X.
FEMA is absolutely botching hurricane relief efforts. And he's also pushing the lie about the disaster funds being used on undocumented migrants. It's, again, all they do is take things that are painful and hurtful for people, and they use it as a political football. They don't have any care for people. They do it during gun violence. They do it during abortion. They do it for natural disasters, anytime they have an opportunity to spread misinformation, to tout their sort of fear-mongering, that's what they do. And if they really cared about people, they would be like, all right, we need to get FEMA into, these are our constituents too. Right? They want to say that the Democrats are planting seeds or whatever the hell in clouds and destroying Republican areas. If those are the places that need help, right? Those were the areas that were destroyed. You would think that these elected officials would do everything they could to make sure that their constituents in those areas, in those red areas that they're so worried about, would get help. But they don't want to do that. They want to push their agenda. And that's not someone who cares about you.
Well, even Trump is out there saying these kinds of things, and there's Republicans in these North Carolina, in those areas, who are saying that the things that Trump's saying are not true. That FEMA is helping, the federal government is helping. And so it's easy, we have to remember that they want to blame things on Biden, they want to blame things on Kamala, how it's Kamala's fault.
Yeah.
George W. Bush, after 9/11, and they created the Department of Homeland Security, put FEMA underneath the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
There's a budget that's created every single year. The people at the Department of Homeland Security, every department across the federal government, say this is how much money we need. They bring it to Congress. It's negotiated. It's voted back and forth. Take this out. Take this out.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Everybody under that umbrella has a budget, including FEMA, including the border, including the Secret Service, who's lacking in money thanks to Congress. And Congress is the one who votes on it. The House, the Republicans and the Democrats in the House. The Republicans and the Democrats in the Senate, they have to pass the budget. It's part of the budget. There's money that is for FEMA that's not for the border.
Correct.
That's not for the Secret Service.
It's so dumb. Just like in any town, city, anything, like there's allocated funds, and those funds are not allowed to be spent on anything other than what they're allocated for. And I don't know much, but I know that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And also
like,
the $700 that people get, it's an initial thing.
Yes.
There's a lot about homeowners insurance that needs to be discussed here, because there's a thing about having a homeowners insurance that's supposed to help you when these disasters happen.
And they don't.
When you can file a claim. And it does take months and months and months, but that's part of the federal government, like we were talking about the business last week that we talked about, and you said, is there some way? Yes, there's small business loans that can be forgiven where you say, I need money to help my business get back on its feet. And those loans can be forgiven because it's a disaster, a natural disaster. So there's things that can happen, things that can do, but what we don't do is make up lies and rumors and conspiracy theories where then FEMA's phone lines are being flooded by these wackos. I saw this story in The Guardian, and I shared this also on my Facebook, but like meteorologists across the country are being threatened.
They're being threatened.
Their lives are being threatened because they go, literally, this is it. Hurricane Milton made landfall in Florida at a Category 3. It's moved across the state and it's exited at a 1. And literally fucking calls about how you're making up stories about a hurricane.
Yeah.
And this is it, y'all. Like, when we think about where we get information, when you talk about when Donald Trump started talking about fake news 10 years ago, we are now at a place where
they don't believe
people watching the news for meteorologists are threatening them for actually giving them just a hurricane moved across Florida.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And so think about how dangerous that can be when it's something bigger. People's lives are at risk. And quite frankly, I saw a video this weekend that was talking about COVID, and this guy was like, it's been 3 years since shouldn't the unvaccinated be dead by now? And this guy was like, I wish, right? Like, that's what it means though. Maybe you survived, but there's millions of people who died who refused to wear masks and not take precautions that the CDC was giving them. They didn't want to believe it, and they're dead now.
It's 3 years, and it has evolved. There are variants, and because it's cycled through, usually they aren't as intense, I think, as like the first. I don't know. All I know is that there's different strands, just like the flu. And so every year, like, people in my family have gotten the flu this year because they didn't get their flu shot, and it's not good, especially for older people. Like these things change and evolve. It's not the same strain from 3 years ago. So you want to say, oh, look, nobody's died. Well, it's a different variant. And you have a lot of people who were vaccinated that helped, stop things in its tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. And we've talked about this before, but I don't understand where the line has been drawn with science, that somehow lay people who have no training, no schooling, no studying, nothing in any of these fields, somehow feel that they are more qualified than people with PhDs.
Yeah, they're listening to a YouTuber.
Some random YouTuber who doesn't know shit. Like, I don't get that.
And it's
Why
weird
are you
too
putting
because
your faith in some guy online?
And when you watch those videos as someone who's not in the warped zone of that, in your head,
crazy.
Yeah, you're like, he's pointing to evidence of like a bird that landed on a garbage can in Nepal 5 years ago. That therefore COVID's not real.
Yeah.
Like it's this weird, and so that means, and then what?
Yeah, and
there's
they
you want to stop it and go
connections.
ask a question. Wait a minute. Well, what does that have to do? What? But there's people who watch it and they believe it.
There's weird. I was watching this show. It's a show called Accused, and it's some Fox. It ended up on Hulu, and I was like, let me watch a couple episodes. And Malcolm Tomorrow Warner was in one, and it's like anthology, so every episode's different. One of the episodes has this woman that I love from The Leftovers and Handmaid's Tale, and she plays this crazy conspiracy theory person, and the situation is like a school shooting, and the mother is trying to get legislation, and this crazy conspiracy person is like, they're all actors, like that whole thing, right?
This has got to be the worst conspiracy thing.
With like the Sandy Hook and
this has got to be the worst part.
But there was one part where she's like, well, isn't your maiden name blah, blah, blah? And isn't it a coincidence that the person in Sweden who has that name is the same person who's doing this, that? Like, they find these weird little breadcrumbs that they think are connections. And she's like, yeah, I grew up in blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know what she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then things escalate.
Meanwhile, this woman's child's dead.
Her child is dead. And she has to, and she's like, I have the death certificate. That can be forged. Like, no matter what you say or do, right? She couldn't combat what they were saying. Like, she like goes to a place to say, okay, I'm going to show you all this. I have a box full of things that show you he was real. And it's like, no matter what she tried to do, they don't believe it. And yeah, this is a TV show, but this is what, I mean, that guy, Alex Jones, right? He was pushing that. He lost that settlement for pushing that lie. But they believe it. They truly have this weird, it's like the people who do like their own like, murder boards and like, I want to trace the crime, but conspiracy theory version, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not based on facts.
Not based on anything real.
Right.
It
kind of reminds me. It does kind of remind me. There's a great show on Netflix which we talked about before called "Don't Fuck with Cats." It reminds me of those people, but they're finding real evidence. Yeah. They're on the internet looking for clues and They're finding real evidence.
Yes, this is.
I mean, this is not that
the same. But it's the same idea.
I wanted to talk about
tracing. Weird connections.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the way that the government, when these storms are coming, and they're like, literally, the mayor of Tampa said, if you are in these areas and you don't evacuate, you're probably not going to die. You won't. No. It's not survivable.
No, it says she said you will die.
Yeah. So here's what. And I know they have places where you can go and bunker down, like in a high school gym somewhere or whatever. They don't offer anything else besides that. Like, there's no help. There's no plane. There's no bus. There's no car. Right. They don't do anything else.
Even with the traffic
to get people out. There's still hold on a second. There's still no gas in Pinellas County right now. Yeah. I don't know what DeSantis is doing up there, but they're not getting gas out there for people to even move around. But if you're going to tell people it's mandatory evacuation, then set it up to get people out. Don't say that and go, it's up to you. People don't have the money for that. I saw a TikTok video of a woman who it was her 4 kids, the husband, and the parents, and she's in tears. And she's saying, they're in this flood zone. And she said, we don't have anywhere to go with the dogs and the cats. And like, where is she supposed to go? And she's like, I guess we can get an Airbnb, but I can't afford that. Like, who can just, it's like going on a vacation. Like, who can afford it? So if you're going to tell people mandatory evacuations, you have to have plans for folks who don't have the means to do that. They shouldn't die or stay in a house that's potentially going to flood and they're on the roof waiting for help to survive this. That's not okay. It's not okay. So we need to do better about that.
The only thing that DeSantis did was like say you can drive on the shoulder of the road. You know what I mean? That was it as far as trying to get, because the traffic was insane.
The
people
75.
took like 10 hours to get to...
And they were running out of gas on I-75 in the middle of the fucking Everglades.
And there's a storm coming.
Girl.
We don't have
it's so
plans in
scary.
place. Each city should have a plan, and they should have a plan for their most vulnerable, and they should have a plan, because the other thing I was looking at, and the same thing that happened with Katrina, is the prisons. Like, there was a prison there.
They don't evacuate either.
And luckily, you know, it didn't tick close to where that prison was, but they don't evacuate. And in Katrina, like, people drowned.
Yeah, of course.
In that prison. And I get it, and that particular prison that they were talking about in the Tampa area was a county prison. So there were people there. This isn't like, you know, these hardened, you know, murderers, and not that they have any less quality of life or, you know, they deserve, you know, to evacuate too. But these are people waiting on traffic ticket violations, you know, petty things, waiting for their court appearance because, so they haven't even been found guilty or innocent because they can't afford the bail.
Yeah.
Well, they have to have a plan.
Yeah.
You can't just leave people to die because they have a court case coming up in 2 weeks.
Well, okay, of course. And then also, I was sending Tina these videos. This week, we had Asheville, Florida, Bosnia, and Thailand.
Yeah.
If you follow the New York Times, they put up these reels, and then in 1 week, all of these places were flooded.
Yeah.
This is it. This is how it's going to happen. You understand?
Water.
We'll go for water. We're going to go first. We'll be underwater first. But the flooding, it's going to be, maybe it won't be flooded all the time, but when the hurricanes come, there's no point of having a house here. There's no point of living here because can't do it.
Unless you're out west, a little bit. Well, it depends because in the yeah.
So like, it's happening all over the place.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It is.
My other thing is that I read in the paper this morning that Fitch Ratings, who's one of these ratings companies for insurance in Florida, they said, quote, they had losses from Hurricane Milton and it will further weaken the precarious position of Florida's property insurance market and possibly lead to hardening of premiums for policyholders next year.
So our rates are going up.
I already have my policy that starts next year, and I'm thinking, I think citizens they have the option, you sign, that they can change those rates. So
yeah.
I mean, what is this? What is this?
I don't know. And you know, I'm getting work done on my house. And it's like, and I need it because I do need those hurricane windows in that part of my house. But it's like, why am I dumping money in a house that could, you know, we could have a storm come in 2 years and have some, you know, random thing where they go, well, we can't really cover that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's scary. And it was scary.
It's going to end up just being all land for developers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For people to do.
But who's going to buy down here? Who's going to live here?
So there was a whole article saying people are going to still buy.
Well, I mean, they're idiots. I would never do that. I would never
still buy.
No.
And rich people are still going to come down here. But what I think they're going to do is maybe not so much those like beachfront, but like, you know, like my neighborhood.
Are you saying Beachfront Avenue to me?
Beachfront Avenue again. But you know, like my neighborhood that's just west of Federal, like stuff like that. Those are going to become the properties because even now, like people are coming in and they want to buy.
They're stupid.
In my neighborhood, they buy the houses and they immediately tear them down now.
Do not buy in Florida. Of course they do. Do not buy in Florida.
And these are nice houses.
Do not come down here.
These aren't like crappy houses. These are nice houses in my neighborhood that they are bought unseen and they're immediately knocked down to build these huge houses.
Whatever. People are out of their
fucking
minds.
You know, they can come buy my lot.
People are out of their fucking minds. Yeah. This is not the place to be. I cannot wait to get the fuck out of here.
So to kind of piggyback a little bit on what we're talking about in terms of, state's responsibility for its most vulnerable people, like the homeless, people in prison, and things like that during these storms. In Oregon, SCOTUS, did you see this?
No.
SCOTUS ruled, because I guess they took it all the way up to SCOTUS, they ruled that homeless people can now be punished for sleeping outside even when the shelters are full. So, shelters are all full, they have nowhere to go, they can still be punished and arrested and have all of the,
what the fuck?
Yep, for sleeping on public property. This is where we are. Again, these are the people, right, when that stupid, I don't want to say stupid, but, like, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me, when I needed a place to stay, this is it. Where are all the Christians? How are they not outraged that, you know what I mean? It's one thing to say, okay, go to a shelter, but there's no room, and we're still going to punish you anyway.
And by the way, further burdening the police and their jail cells, and it costs taxpayer dollars.
Well,
to
and
do
they're
that.
also saying that it's cruel and unusual punishment, right? Like that is protected in our Constitution, in the 8th Amendment, right? That you can't have cruel and unusual punishment. And if you're going to be jailing people and punishing people who have no home, they have nowhere to go, so now they have to go to jail because your state hasn't provided enough shelters for the situation. You know what I mean? If you have a housing crisis and you have a homelessness crisis,
oh my God,
what are you doing as a state or a community to help with that situation? So instead you're going to just throw people in jail, and then taxpayer dollars are still going to that. SCOTUS.
Well,
this is what happens.
We know who they are.
This is what happens.
That's really insane.
And people still have such a bias towards homelessness. They just think that they're either a junkie or they're lazy or something. And it's so much more complex than that. And you've talked about it on here before, where sometimes people are one paycheck away from losing everything.
But they get into a car accident. Next
right?
thing you know, that's
or
it.
Or a hurricane comes.
Yeah.
And now everything is destroyed and they don't have the money. Some people are lucky enough to have family members. I heard this someone on the radio in the morning was like, we have to be thankful, these storms come, but there's family and friends that help, and you get, and it's like, well, yeah, maybe for some people, but not everybody has access to that.
Yeah.
And not everybody's family has the ability to shell out money to help people. It's just, again, going back to what's the public policy.
Well, it also goes back to
is the responsibility of the state.
Yes, but it also goes back to exactly what we were saying last week, or 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure, but like, what are you here for?
Yeah,
SCOTUS. What are you here for? Like, everything these motherfuckers who are appointed as judges or elected into office, their goal should be protecting and keeping people safe, making people's lives easier and better. How can you do that? How can you do that?
Correct.
Someone's downtrodden and needs help. How do you lift them up?
Yeah,
that's the law. You shouldn't be going to office going, well, I can go get an Airbnb, so everybody should. Really? You should think about the people who have less than you. That's what this is about. Serving, public service.
Right.
Serving the community. Right. It's not just about what happens in you with you. Look outside of that. You don't.
And everything is connected, right? Like the same people that are voting against like raising the minimum wage, right, are the same people that are bitching about people who maybe end up homeless because they can't afford their bills because they're not making enough money, and then they want to bitch at them.
Something's got to give.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't not give proper wages to people. You can't have rental costs and home costs be so high that a basic minimum wage doesn't cover it in a living area. That doesn't make sense. If a minimum wage should be able to cover the cost of renting a place in a city. And if it doesn't, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Because that minimum wage is now below. Because minimum suggests that you should be able to cover basic things. And basic things are your clothing, a roof over your head, and food. And if you can't provide people with a house over their head with the money that they're being paid, there's a problem in this country. And to then go say, well, oh, you're lazy or you should go to college. There's people who go to college and, get jobs like, I don't know, teaching, and they're, 25 years old and making no money. And I know young teachers who work 2 jobs just so they can afford their rent. How are they supposed to? I saw a video of a girl, and she's like 22, 23, out of college, and she's got her first job. And she's like, she's like, I don't know how to do this. She's like,
I remember
did you
this
see
video,
this?
Yeah.
She's like, I wake up and I got to drive to work, and people are like, oh, she's complaining, but it's real though. Like, she wakes up, she's got to get to work by like 8 to 5, right? But she's got to leave at like 7 something. So you're up at 6, and then she doesn't come home till 6, and she's worn out. And then imagine people then who then have to go to their next job on top of that because they can't afford. And she's like, I can't afford to move closer to it. I have to do this hour-long commute because she can't afford to live closer. What are we doing to ourselves as a nation? Like, I understand that people have to work, and but our lives shouldn't revolve around just having to pay our rent. You know what I mean? Like, there are other things that we should be able to do and enjoy in our lives. She's like, how am I going to meet somebody? How am I even going to go on a date? Like, there's no time. We have things backwards. I don't know.
All right, let's move on.
Oh, sorry. It's upsetting me.
It is. It's very upsetting.
The only other thing I have is Texas.
Okay.
And the Texas Supreme Court ruling that pregnant women basically can't be saved in life-threatening situations.
What?
For abortion.
The Texas Supreme Court said this?
Yeah. Well, wait, let me see. Court order says that hospitals cannot federally be required to provide pregnancy terminations when they violate a Texas abortion ban.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Supreme Court, SCOTUS. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So there we go.
Again.
Emergency situation.
Again, like we talked about last week, what are we supposed to do? Move? We gotta move?
And Texas sees this as a win. Women in Texas, they should all get the hell out.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
But again, here we are
in Florida.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
We're in Florida.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You want people to uproot their lives? That's what we need to do? I just think about what it must feel like when you find out you're pregnant.
Dying, women in Florida dying.
Or you find out you're pregnant and now what are you doing? Like, I can't
you're afraid to cross state
imagine
lines.
what does to them.
I think we talked about that commercial before with the dad who is bringing his daughter across state lines. Did you see that one?
Yeah, the commercial.
We talked about that, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't want to redo it if we did.
Yeah.
But that's scary.
Well, we have an election coming.
Yeah.
And they've been out on the campaign trail. So Obama's been out there, which was very good this week. He was in Pittsburgh. It was incredible. He hit a lot of points, but he was talking to male voters, and he said, quote, "I'm sorry, gentlemen. I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength. I'm here to tell you that it is not what real strength is. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves. That is what we should do this is what we should want for our daughters and for our sons," end quote. Incredible. And when you watch the speech, it's an amazing speech, but also right before he went to do the speech, he went to one of her offices in Pittsburgh, and it was mostly black volunteers who worked there, and he was speaking to them too, saying to the black men, like, you better get your friends, get your family members, because there's been pushback from black men against Kamala and thinking that they did better under Trump, and he's like, unacceptable. Like, we're not doing that. And even in the speech that he gave, which is amazing, that he gave for the larger crowd that day, you can see this frustration in him, which is what I think. When I was watching it, I was like, this is how I feel when we sit down and have these conversations every week. Like, it's so, when we sit there and go, I don't understand. What don't you get? Well, it's incredibly frustrating what else do you want? What else do you need? Forget Kamala. What else do you need Trump to do for you to go, man, no? What is it? Because
I can't understand it.
He's given you enough reasons to abandon him as a person, as a candidate, like as someone who voted for him the first time. He's given you plenty of fucking reasons to abandon him. What else are you looking for? He's literally giving speeches that are ripped from Nazi speeches.
Yep.
About immigrants coming over and they have bad genes and their blood is ruining this country.
Oh my God.
That's a quote from fucking Hitler.
That's white supremacy.
What are you waiting for? Is that who we are? Do you all need to get... Here's the thing that pisses me off. We need to repeat this. We need to repeat these bad parts of our history in the world history for you to realize how bad this guy is. I mean, I've never seen The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't read the book. I didn't watch the fucking show.
I have the book. I'll let you borrow it.
Oh, please, I'm not going to read it. I get it. I get it. I'm here.
Yeah,
we're in it.
We're in it.
Like,
Watch the
this
show.
is
You'll
it.
like it.
Oh,
It's
God.
upsetting.
It was, yeah, I can't.
First
Every
season
time
will
I tried to
upset
start
you.
watching Yellow Jackets, and I was like, you know what? I need to watch another episode of Great British Bake Off because I need my mind to be in this happy bakey place.
Yeah.
Take me to baking land where everybody's British, and I'm like, oh, Cheerio, that's the cake. Like, that's what I need in my brain right now, leading up to this election. I can't have despair. I can't have girls scared in the woods. Like, I can't.
I live in despair, girl.
I can't do it.
I live in it.
I gotta pretend. This is how I pretend. But, like, I don't know what else you all need. I don't get it. And I will scratch my head when he's elected.
Oh, he better no.
I hope it doesn't happen, but like, girl,
don't put it out in the air.
There's no reason this race should even be this close, and I don't want to look at polls, but this is wild stuff. Wild stuff.
I anytime I see that the margin is so close, there's that many whack jobs in this country, and the other thing he said in his speech, Obama, was when he talked about the economy, and he's like, everyone's talking about he's like, that was my economy.
Yeah.
He's like, I did
shit.
that.
Yeah.
I did that. Like, again, people not understanding how anything works.
Right.
And it is a shame that people believe things just right out the gate.
Yeah.
They believe it right out the gate, and they don't pause. And anytime I hear anything, even if it's from a Dem, I go, let me start looking this up, and I start looking it up so I can see, like, what the thing is.
Yeah. He said about the hurricane aid comments, Donald Trump at a rally just started making up stories about the Biden administration withholding aid to Republican areas and siphoning off aid to give to undocumented immigrants. Everybody knew it wasn't true. Even the local Republicans said it wasn't true. The idea of intentionally trying to deceive people in their most desperate and vulnerable moments, when did that become okay? Why would we go along with that? And I've been to Asheville, but Asheville's here, and the rest going up to North Carolina, the whole western north of northwest, of Asheville, decimated. These are all small little mountain towns gone. It's not just Asheville, it's all the way up into the mountains. And these people need help. And when you make shit up like this, you're taking the aid away from them and making it political. And the thing that's the worst is we've been in that situation as we've gone through hurricanes. I've had houses that the power goes out for weeks, and you don't know what you're doing. It's hot. You're sleeping with the windows open.
Showers are awful.
There's no cold. There's no water. You can't use your water. Your food's gone. You're living out of a cooler.
Yeah.
You're just
barbecuing. You got to barbecue all your food. Like, so if you have meat or whatever. I remember one year we had to barbecue everything out of our freezer, and we called like my cousins, everybody over, like, come and get food because it was going to go bad, and you don't want to just throw it out.
But we know what it's like to be in desperate situations, and I've never, thank God, lived in a house that was underwater. But I've had family members who had this last 2 years ago, and I was praying to God when that hurricane came across Fort Myers. I was like, please spare them because they just got back into their house.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Please, God.
That's
and
scary.
it was good, thank God.
Thank God.
But like, it's scary. It's fucking scary. And the cone kept trying to move a little bit south, and I was like, all right, what am I going to do? And I'm alone, and I'm like, I'm bringing stuff in, waiting to see what happens, and my boss is like, it's fine, we're going to go to work. And I was telling you last night, I was like, I guess I'm driving to work in 70 mile an hour winds, and it turned out to be nothing, and it was the best. Thursday morning driving to work, I was like, I'm so glad to be going to work right now. Yeah. I'm so happy.
Oh, me too.
And I know my kids love those days off. But I'm like, good, you have your days off with no storm? That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have a hurricane day
than
have a fucking hurricane.
And the tornadoes.
Girl!
The tornadoes. It was not, so.
I don't remember this. Girl, no.
So people want to talk about, there's nothing happening. I have been in this place for a long time.
Yeah.
I went through Andrew, okay?
Oh.
Okay.
That's OG shit.
Okay.
You were here for Andrew?
All right,
okay,
Andrew.
Okay, yeah,
right? You were too, girl.
Yes, I was here.
So when Andrew happened, it was sort of the same thing where they tell you, they came, I remember the police up and down
we
my
evacuated.
street
We evacuated.
saying you have to evacuate. And my parents said, no.
Ooh! What did you...
No.
Was it bad?
I called my uncle. I remember calling my uncle in Pittsburgh going, she won't have us leave. And he's like, get out of there. And I this was like our first major storm from moving to this state. One. Freaked the hell out. And it was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary. But we were lucky because it ticked again south. But there were not... I do not remember any warnings for tornado.
No. These tornadoes.
Maybe one tornado. The amount of tornadoes that went down in this state is shocking.
So it came from the west across to the east, and we were supposed to start feeling Wednesday night or Thursday morning around 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Here in Broward and West Palm, we were supposed to start to feel the effects. Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So almost 10 hours earlier, the fucking tornadoes are tearing across West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County.
Yeah. Never
ahead of the hurricane.
Storm. So now not only do we have to deal with the hurricane, now when you're in the eye is coming over, there might be some tornadoes and stuff, but rarely.
Yeah, this is like a prequel.
This is a prequel. Yes, it's a prequel.
A prequel storm.
A prequel storm. I've never seen any.
Me neither. And my brother lives up in Jupiter, and they were sending me videos of it bounced. One bounced around them.
Yeah.
Oh, people lost everything.
It's scary.
Girl.
So now we have to worry about tornadoes coming before the storm. That's
why are we here?
Why are we
here? There's snow. There's snow somewhere. I'll take the snow. I'll take the snow.
Maybe not a blizzard, but I'll take some snow.
Whatever. I'll take it.
I did have one more thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
And because they're all stumping all over the place, and Walz was in Michigan.
Yeah.
And he was talking about labor, and he was talking basically about the manufacturing plants and the car manufacturing. And he's he was just jab, jab, jab at Trump. And he had said that he's Donald Trump said he wasn't going to close one plant. He goes, well, I guess he told the truth because he closed 6 of them. I was he was boom, boom, boom. And then he talked about the Bible that you mentioned last week.
I saw this.
He talks about the Bible that Hillary talked about, that it was made in China. And he says, this dude will even outsource God to China. That's what he said. He goes, this dude would even outsource God. He goes, but of course he wouldn't know because he never opened it up. Because if he opened it up, he would have seen made in China.
Obama brought up the Bible too.
So good.
Obama brought up the Bible. He's got his own Bible. He's he wants his name right there next to Luke and Mark.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
God. Ugh.
So Kamala also this week, she doesn't do press. She's not sitting down for interviews. This woman did 5 or 6 different shows this week. 60 Minutes, Call Her Daddy podcast. Howard Stern. Did you ever get to watch that whole thing?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. I watched about half of it. It's very good. But it's different ways for her to get in front of people who don't pay attention.
The Howard Stern group?
Yeah.
Come on.
And all of those clips, I've been seeing them throughout the week. It didn't just die overnight. Those clips have been getting out. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
And
keep
60
doing
Minutes
it.
Coming after Trump.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we asked.
Another one.
I mean, they trolled him. But guess what? He wants an apology from 60 Minutes before he gets on there.
For things
Who the hell are you?
He said for things they said that Leslie Stahl said the last time they did it, and they went back and watched it. They're like, she never said that.
Yeah.
He's just making shit up in his fucking head.
And then he's like, he doesn't want to be fact checked, and 60 Minutes dude is like, we fact check everything.
Yeah, again, why don't you want to be fact checked?
Yeah.
By the way,
you and Vance don't want to be fact checked.
Let me say something else. This fucking JD Vance this week. And again, I'm gonna keep beating this fucking dead horse. But January 6th, bitch, I can't. And the election, the not being able to admit that he lost the election is so fucking insane to me. So he sat down with the New York Times, JD Vance did, and the lady said, "Can you now, in the debate, you wouldn't say this. Can you now clear this up?" Now, let me say something. That was the most unpopular thing. He lost the debate at that moment.
Right.
Like I said last week. He lost it. And people don't like that. They don't like that you can't admit that you lost.
Right.
They think it's insane that he keeps saying it, that Trump, and that now J.D. Vance is saying it. So now his credibility, although I don't know how much he had,
credibility
is still. So this woman gave him the opportunity, this New York Times reporter, to correct his statement. And he's standing by what he said. And I wanted to play it because it's the worst fucking thing I've ever, like, it's just garbled.
Tank yourself, man.
And it's also that you can hear, listen, we're human beings. You're not a robot. We hear it in your voice that you don't even believe what you're saying. You can tell that
he's catching.
It's his bullshit. It's his bullshit meter. Like, you can hear, even in his weird eyes, he's like, he doesn't believe it.
God, this poor wife.
Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020.
How about January 6th?
Groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator, yes or no? Okay. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story?
What are you talking?
Have said it cost Donald Trump millions of votes.
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
And I've answered your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know.
Yep.
There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about
that's not a slogan.
Yeah, that's a fact. Fact finders.
Censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification.
Woo!
I think that when you
boom, I'm not gonna play this whole thing, but you get the drift. The thing that
slogan.
Mike Mother Pence stood his fucking ground and had the balls to do, had the fucking courage to do that day, J.D. Vance wouldn't have done that.
Nope.
He would have turned over this country to a fucking dictator with a mob outside the door. That's what he would have done. And then, if that had gotten challenged, it probably would have went to the Supreme Court, and then we would have had the Supreme Court backing a dictator, which is what they've done on every single case of his that comes up in front of them.
Yep.
That's what we're dealing with. So I ask you again, what else do you need? What else are you looking for? He's got a fucking puppet with his arm so far up J.D. Vance's ass. This guy was Ivy League educated, who 2 or 3 years ago, 2020, before the election, said Trump was our Hitler.
Yep.
And now that's him fucking tap dancing to the music.
That is
for Trump. For power, for power. He will fuck you over for power. The American people. He will put our lives in danger for himself. That's what J.D. Vance is willing to do. That's what J.D. fucking Vance is willing to do. What are you willing to do to make sure that doesn't happen? You only got to do one fucking thing. One fucking thing. It's fucking bubble in a goddamn name. That's it. Don't skip that top of the ticket. Do not skip it. Do not do it.
I can't imagine.
This isn't a fucking... The American experiment is not supposed to go this way. That's not what it's supposed to do. It's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. This woman asked him 5 fucking times directly. It's a yes or no answer. Right. It's yes or no. And it's fucking, I gotta say, it's humiliating. I'd be humiliated if that was me. And I don't know, my son likes to ask me questions. I think I've said this before, but he'll like, what if I offered you $5 million to have sex with Donald Trump? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
10 million. I go, well, we're in the range.
Yeah.
We're in the range. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then he always says to me, what if I offered you $10 million to vote for Donald Trump? And my answer, no matter how high my son goes, is always No. There's no money value you can put on it that would make me risk this entire country and what we stand for as Americans. There's nothing you could give me that would make me change my mind. And I'm struggling, and I work fucking hard at multiple fucking jobs to keep a roof over my head. I'm all the time working. Tina works fucking hard. We work hard all the time and do what we can to make this fucking county better, right? There's nothing you could do that would make me ever convince me to vote for Donald Trump and JD fucking Vance. They're willing to sell this whole goddamn country down the river for themselves, to get out of court cases, to be closer to power,
to make money and more money and more money. And
it's
more
done.
Money.
We're done with this. We're done with this. We gotta let this motherfucker go. Like Obama says, it's time to turn the page. America is done with this. So make sure, we got weeks now left, folks. And by the way, November 5th, let's see. When November 5th is a Tuesday, that means possibly our last episode is coming out November 6th, the next day. Maybe we'll record a little goodbye video.
No.
But we got about 4 or 5 episodes left here if Trump's elected. And by the way, if you're a fan, if that's a reason for you to vote for Kamala, thank you.
Please.
But like, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to report on that.
We can't go through that.
I'm not going to report on that.
We can't.
Because I can't, my heart can't handle it. My blood pressure can't handle it.
I mean, honestly, either way this election goes, I'm nervous.
Of course.
I'm nervous about whatever violence is going to happen.
I gotta say, I hear you with Kamala gets elected, but I honestly, as much as they think they can rally, a lot of their big fucking bullshit artists are locked up from January 6th.
I hope.
You know? And he can cry, and he can do whatever, but he wasn't chosen.
He needs to just move to Russia and get away. Oh God, that other thing, the COVID test. Russia.
Nobody has COVID tests, but guess who does?
Putin.
Bitch. And he says, don't tell anybody.
Oh my God. And my favorite thing that Kamala Harris says, and she said it on the debate stage, and I believe she said it in the Howard Stern interview, is that Donald Trump is so desperate for the affection of these dictators, and he thinks that he's like this side by side with them, and he's not. They are playing him for the biggest fool. Yeah. And he can't see it. Yeah. He can't see it. And also, and again, you're going to let our country go to rot? Yeah. Because this guy thinks, this wannabe dictator who's going to get his ass handed to him, and therefore all of our asses handed to him? Ooh. Come on. Like, wake up. Also, wake up.
There's a movie coming out called The Apprentice with Sebastian Stan. And the guy
saw it.
It's good, right? Okay.
Mind blown.
I'm telling you, okay, because here's the thing. Here's the fucking tea. This is why y'all need to be in therapy. Men, get a fucking therapist immediately. We're here now with this because Donald Trump's daddy didn't like him. Okay? And he was easily manipulated by this guy, Roy Cohn, who we all know is a very evil, evil man. Yeah. And he got a hold of Trump early and was able to manipulate him and create those seeds. But it's all because Trump was raised in a house. He wasn't loved. He wasn't cared for. He was talked down to. He was belittled. He wasn't the smart son. That one died in a plane crash. You know, he's got a lot of problems. He's got a lot of fucking problems with his parents and his family. Fucked up. He's fucked up. And that's why we're here. Y'all need to get help. Get fucking help. These fucking men. All right, listen. All right. Wait, quickly. We have not talked about the Penguin, and it's such a fucking great show. Have you been watching it? So good. Oh my God.
I love every bit of it.
Oh my God.
To me, it's funny.
It is funny.
It's so funny. It's
funny / scary, which is
but I love this character.
Yes,
very much.
Oh my gosh,
love him.
Colin Farrell.
I mean, I still can't. I look and I still can't see him.
I sent my son a picture. I'm like, this is the guy playing the Penguin. He's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, he's like, that's not real. I go, it's real. First of all, he's Irish, hottie.
He's always been a cutie patootie.
He starts doing those interviews, and I'm like, what's happening?
But
what is this
show? It's a very good show. It's I love his driver.
Yeah, this kid. I love the kid. The dynamic between these two is so beautiful.
So good.
And then in this last episode, we got to see a little bit more of like what happened that day at the end of the Batman, the goth Batman,
Yeah.
with Robert Pattinson, which was a very good movie.
With the water.
With the water, he blows
yeah.
the bridges and the whole city floods. Well, this show picks up right when that movie, so we get to
Yeah.
see what happened on the ground
The
that day.
aftermath, yeah.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
It's
It's
very,
fucking
very good.
incredible.
Go
and
watch it.
the daughter or the sister.
Oh.
She's so good, and it's so much. Tyler, what's her name? What's the sister in
Connie.
Connie from The Godfather?
Yeah,
It's a mix of that with like a psychopath.
And she got those eyes.
Oh,
Like,
she's insane.
she's
So
good though. She's good though.
good. So
Woo!
good.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but
Yeah.
it's got a grittiness to it, but there's a humor to it. That it is.
I really enjoyed it.
And
I'm enjoying it.
again, you have this sort of anti-hero person that
Yeah.
you're sort of rooting for, which
Yeah.
I love. Which
And also, we're so inundated with all of these like comic book characters. It's another take on this comic book character.
Yeah.
That you maybe wouldn't know, but the
way
dynamic
that-
with his mother.
the way that he walks,
Yeah.
the way his
accent is perfect.
Everything is so good.
Uh-huh.
Everything is so
And
good.
right when his temper starts to go, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, here it comes, or whatever.
Yeah.
His mother, that again, mothers and sons,
Yup.
which, oh god, oh my god, like
It's a great,
it's so
great show.
good.
I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Me too.
All right. Well, I gotta go see my boy.
Oh yeah, swimming.
I gotta go see my boy swim.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.